I see a beat up POS right here.
What?
Really bad.
What happened?
I love it.
What happened? Smoke test! What kind of test are we having here, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, there you found it.
What kind of test are we having here?
The smoke test.
What does a smoke...
Vacuum leak.
It tells you if you got a vacuum leak.
No. A smoke test tells you if you have a leak, period. Because it not only does vacuum, it does evap. It not only does evap, it does any kind of hose or anything that you want to check if it has a leak, if it's not fluid. You can also check fluid lines. If it doesn't have any fluid, you just throw smoke in there and it does it. What we're hooking up to right now is what? What vacuum are you hooking up to? The brake booster. Why the brake booster line? Brake booster uses the most vacuum in the car to push the booster to push the brakes. So, and the brake booster is not connected to emissions. And what do we want to check? Emission lines, right? Intake, EGR,
okay, ready.
evap, all that gets checked because it all circulates through there. So that's what this smoke machine does. If somebody says, hey, my car is idling like crap, and you look and you see let me see.
Es el baffle de abajo del
Intake manifold. It's the
intake manifold gasket.
nope, intake manifold plenum gasket. You got it wrong. Seriously, if you go to the store and ask for an intake plenum gasket, they're gonna give you this one. And then it's got an intake plenum on the bottom. And then this is the intake plenum, and that's the intake plenum connected to the block. Okay. So you got two of them.
Ruben, you want to explain it in Spanish, please?
No, this is my specialty. No. Engines.
Go ahead, Ruben.
¿Qué está pasando? ¿Quién habla español? ¿Todos hablan español?
No. ¿Por qué no?
La computadora del carro nos está indicando que tenemos una leak condition. Una leak condition regularmente es generada por un vacuum leak. Y la máquina de humo es una herramienta que nos facilita encontrar el vacuum leak, ¿verdad? Entonces por eso lo estamos conectando.
Pero ¿cómo hallas el vacuum leak con el humo?
¿Cómo que cómo lo hallo?
Yeah, no, todos. ¿Cómo hallas un vacuum leak con humo? ¿Cómo? ¿Ah?
Fumando.
Basic, yes.
Echándoselo al ¿cómo se llama?
If you have a leak, what's going to happen? It's going to leak. If you don't have a leak, what's going to happen? You're not going to leak. But this is a very, very important problem with air. I mean, when you do a smoke test, here is the plenum, right? And what is this? TV. Throttle what?
Body.
Yes, it's a throttle body. The throttle body opens and closes with what?
The gas throttle.
Yeah, so it opens and closes the throttle body door. You're always gonna have a leak. You're always gonna have, or throttle blade. You're always gonna have a leak here. Why?
Because it opens and closes.
Yeah. So when you see it coming out of here, don't worry about it. But anything here forward, especially down there, you got a problem. How do you pinpoint it? You don't give it a lot of air. You tap it. And then you start seeing a little bit. When you do it a lot, it works. But what did we see? Nothing but what? Smoke. Did you see where it came from? That's what you do like that, yeah. Now says así. And then all of a sudden, you're gonna see one little, and that's how you pinpoint. And then you get your stethoscope, you know the one the doctor uses? They have some for Mechanica. I got one and I always use it. It's fucking perfect. Because if you shoot air in it, or even compressed air, and you have your stethoscope right here, what are you gonna hear? Air. You're gonna hear the air coming out. So if you don't have a smoke tester, you put your compressor with the one that blows the aire, and you put it on the same thing. Why on the booster? What uses the most vacuum? The booster. So where would all the vacuum go through? The booster line. So that's where you hook up
No,
the smoke
tienes
to
el
the
manual.
booster light.
¿No tienes el manual de este carro?
Look at that, you like this. A ver, hazlo otra vez.
Dale otra vez.
Hazlo otra vez.
Espérame. Ya le gustó.
It's not toxic.
Okay, you want to back it up about 2 feet?
Again. Light. Again. Slowly, keep backing it. Yeah. More like engine. See? Now get your light and do what I was doing.
I think this
Every
one
time
it been booking on, right?
Look at it like this. Every time the smoke is coming, you blow it, and then it all goes away, and then wherever the hole's at, that's where you're gonna see the little remnants of smoke coming out. So go ahead, do it again. Like
Okay, here we go. Here's my explanation. It's very difficult to find vacuum leaks because usually the engine's under suction. So the old school method was to get a can of carburetor cleaner and while the engine was running, spray around, and then if the carburetor cleaner got into any vacuum leaks, it would raise the RPM, like the engine would race. But that's a hard way to do it. And it's also, kind of time consuming and dangerous. So the difference is with a smoke machine that we're making pressure instead of vacuum. And what that pressure is doing is it's taking the smoke and it'll blow it out of any old leaks. So now we can find some leaks, especially when it's really difficult place like the evap system or something going back to the tank. This is like the only way of finding the leaks, because the Jimmy I had a leak on top of the gas tank. So what they did was they hooked up the smoke machine, and then they ran it, and they saw all this smoke pouring out from on top of the gas tank. Well, you never would have found that.
Nope.
And you're not going to pull the tank just to check, right?
Possible.
So, the smoke machine's a very valuable and important piece of equipment, and while we've got it here, I wanted to make sure that you saw it do its job. Mr. Garcia, you got an extra custody? You got an extra custody?
Whatever you got, we'll take it.
Whatever you want to say.
Say it.
Hey!
Link condition. So link means you have much more air than fuel. So when you see the smoke coming out of there, it's getting more rich. So that's unmeasured air. See, you have the sensor here to measure the amount of air entering the engine. So that is unmeasured air. So the computer cannot account for that air.
You ain't gonna count, it's just gonna keep adding, right?
Yes, it is giving a lot of fuel trying to make up for that.
To try to block a little leak, right?
No, it's not trying to block the leak. It's trying to compensate.
Yeah.
But
I just getting gas.
then because it cannot make it work as it should, then it turns on the check engine light with the link condition. They need to remove the plenum at least.
The intake manifold.
I think they've been
Most
removed.
likely, yes, they have been fooling around.
Yeah. So glue all over.
Yeah, need to remove that, and usually there is a hose that gets kind of
Clog.
brittle and it comes out loose after. Yeah. Anyway, in order to fix it, you have to lift
Manifold.
the plenum first. And then probably you have to do the whole intake. Make sure you don't break any of those little screws.
Okay. Do you recommend I do like the spark plug while I do that too, or?
If you want to, yes. If you haven't done that in a long time, 60,000 miles, then it should
Probably less, but it's almost getting there.
Alright. Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Thanks, sir.